and sort of like equality of like production. Like you probably dumped a couple $100 into the setup. Yeah. But with this, just with that budget, you can have conversations every week.
Right.
Trying to get to the truth. Trying to like, and it's like people are hungry for that.
Yeah. Just trying to learn, man. That's one of the main things for me is just like, I just like picking everybody's brain.
Yeah. Get some ads on this and get some cameras, be on YouTube. You got to be on, are you on Spotify yet?
I am.
Is it both podcasts on Spotify? Yeah. I tried finding it. I'll try it again.
It's on Spotify.
Spotify is how I listen to my podcast.
Yeah, Spotify. It's on all the major podcasting. Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, all those.
Spotify is like the best listening application.
Yeah.
Like I listen to my music on that, and I have coworkers who like we have like a Bluetooth speaker in our sub shop, and they like hook up and they play YouTube, and there's like ads, and they can't like close their screen, and I'm like their phone dies. I'm like, what are you doing? Like. It's like 2019. Get Spotify, and it's like they're all college students. I'm like, you can get it for like $4. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's a fact.
Anywho, yeah, comedy is like
it's a way to bring people together, in my opinion. Like, because it's one of those things. Like, comedians is a need. It's a necessity. Because, like you said, a lot of these topics people don't want to touch, and even some comedians like Kevin Hart.
Oh, yeah.
He got so corny to me because he won't touch a lot of things.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And that's why I love people like Dave Chappelle, where, Chappelle, there was a couple of layers like, oh, man, that's kind of cringy.
Yeah.
But it was kind of needed. Like, right. It's like
he's not even like saying this is what I believe. It's just a thought process.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I've been
just
considering this.
Yeah.
There's a saying I really like about comedy. The most important person in a king's court is the jester, because he's the only one there able to tell the truth. Because it's the comedian's job to view society, #Joker, we live in a society, to view culture and society and the way people interact and the way people treat each other, and to say what everyone else is thinking but not saying. It's like you listen because people say it's funny because it's true, and that is true. Yeah, and it's because like you listen to someone make a joke, and it's like what makes it funny is the fact that they're saying it, and then you've always kind of thought it deep back in your brain,
or you may have experienced it, or it's
relatable.
Yeah, it's relatable. Yeah,
that's why I don't really care for people like Jerry Seinfeld was okay in his prime. I looked back, I don't really care for Seinfeld and his stand up much. It's a little corny, but his modern stuff, it's like he's too separated from culture now because he's so rich. Yeah. It's like you can't, no one relates to that. Meanwhile, you got people like Bill Burr, who's like consistently like upper middle class comedian, even though he's kind of a bigger name. Yeah. Like he's so relatable still because he's like a conspiracy theorist and angry. And like that's relatable because everyone kind of is deep down. Is angry and like conspiratorial. And he'll rant about how airports are designed to like give everyone cancer and to lessen the population. And he like went on this funny rant about how like if he were in charge of the world, he'd start sinking cruise ships because we need to control the population. And if you're gonna kill anybody, who better than people who go on cruises?
Don't do that. I'm going on a cruise in December.
Yo.
But yeah. Like I like to do whenever I'm watching comedies, and I like both aspects of it. Where I don't know if you notice a difference, but like there's a big difference in terms of style between black comedians and white comedians.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's just a cultural thing.
Right, it is. And like I can laugh. There's a lot of white comedians I can go and be dead at. Yeah. Like for some, like Jeff Dunham, like his early stuff, I was fucking dying from that shit. It's like this was a puppeteer, and I'm like cracking up laughing. Who else was it? What's his name? I'm drawing a blank. The dude that did Vicious Circle, Dan Cook. Dan Cook. Dan Cook. What? You don't like Dan Cook?
No.
I get a lot of that. I get a lot of that from people. It's usually white dudes that don't like Dan Cook. I don't know what it is.
I feel like he's speaking to like 8th grade schoolyard bullies. Like he's just got this juvenile sense of humor, but
maybe that's what it is.
That's just maybe like that's another thing. Everyone's sense of humor is a little different.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I like surrealism. I like dry stuff. I like awkward cringe comedy. I like but just sort of like Adam Sandler type like juvenile stuff never appeals much to me.
You ever go back and listen to like old comedies like Richard Pryor?
I probably just breathed hard on the mic there.
You good?
Not much.
No.
I'm trying to think what's the earliest stand up. I know I've delved down this route. Thank you. I can't even remember.
Go check.
Robin Williams' old stuff might be the earliest. Jim Carrey did stand up before he was big. I listened to that. Like old '80s type stand up is probably the earliest back I've seen.
You ever see Eddie Murphy's?
I have not seen a single Eddie Murphy stand up.
Go watch.
I've seen all the Shrek films though, so I feel like I really understand Eddie Murphy as like a celebrity.
Nah, it was different. It was different. Go. Those are probably like two of the in terms of stand up comedies. Usually, stand up comedians will go back to those ones, Delirious and what's the other one? It's two of them. I actually got them both on DVD. His first one he's wearing like a red suit, and the other one he's wearing like a purple suit. I can't think of the name of them. I know one is Delirious, and I forgot the other one. But go like those ones like stand the test of time. Like he did those in the '80s, and like to this day, they're funny as shit. Like go watch those. Like a couple of hours go back to his Dave Chappelle's. Yeah. Dave Chappelle had the two. He's the one he's talking about. He did the Sesame Street bit. Like that joint is just hilarious. He did the Juice bit about like Sunny Delight. How like black people like you come to black person's home and we always got like no name brand juices and like a white kid would come over and they'd be like, yo, what is this stuff? And they don't know what it is. And like, yo, it's like, yeah, we got some Sunny D, we got some water, and they like Sunny D comes like, yeah. You see the black kid is like, yeah, I want that purple stuff. Like go back and watch those ones. Those is classics. Like those
just made me think. I think because Dave Chappelle has a funny bit about stuffing and stovetop stuffing. Was that him?
It might have been.
I think it was a similar bit where he was like, "I'm going to Jimmy's house because they're having stovetop for dinner." Like, it's like the cheapest meh stuffing, but it was like for some reason wherever he was in his childhood, it was like only still middle class white people had it, and so it's the most simple food. And he's like, "Oh, I'm totally going to Jimmy's tonight because he told me he's having stovetop."
Dave Chappelle is that comedian because he relates. I don't know. I feel like everybody can find him funny. Like you go to his shows and it's a mean mix of white, black, Asian. Like everybody's there.
Yeah.
You ever watch the Chappelle show?
I've seen some bits.
Oh my God, Connor!
I know. See, that's another thing. People are like, "You haven't seen that?"
Yeah,
all the time.
Do yourself a favor if you get some time because it's a lot. It's a lot of content. If you ever get some time, man, just go watch some Chappelle show. Like, just go watch some skits and whatnot, man.
The one that I think everyone's favorite, and the one that I've seen is the Black Klansman.
Klansman. Yo, shit like that. Who thinks of some shit like that?
And then recently, I found out that's his first episode, I believe, right?
I don't know. It wasn't his first episode.
One of his first, right?
It was in his first season, I believe.
Okay, but still, it's like to start that strong,
right? With
that bit, like that's immediately like a classic.
Yeah, it's the Chappelle Show. Period. Like the stuff that he was able to come up with, it's like, yo, how? Like he did the first episode. I think was a racial draft. Like they had the racial draft, so people that's like biracial, where they're black and Asian, or they're white and Jewish, or stuff like that. Like he had like the black people won the lottery, and we drafted Tiger Woods, and then instantly when Tiger Woods got drafted, like he lost all of his sponsorships because now he's officially 100% black. Wow. Like Lenny Kravitz got drafted by a Jewish community. The white community, you guys drafted Colin Powell. That is like, he's like, I don't get it. Colin Powell's completely white, completely black. This doesn't make no sense. Like there's no percentage of black in him or white in him. So it's just like little bits like that, man. Like that, like you think about it now, it's like, yo, that is fucking genius, yo.
Speaking of comedy shows, SNL, I've watched like my whole life.
Yeah,
it's not funny anymore.
I've never been an SNL fan.
I used to.
I usually will watch if it's like somebody I know that's going on there.
I feel like people grow out of it a lot, but I think especially now, like their comedy is so like every episode feels the same. There's always like the opening Trump bit with Alec Baldwin doing Trump jokes. Yeah. And there's always like the Weekend Update with like the same punchlines. And there's always like the skit where it's like gross out humor. There's always the skit where it's like they make fun of the iPhone or whatever. And I feel like they're like just going through the motions. But a sketch show I want to recommend to you it's on Netflix, speaking of. It's by this guy who used to be on SNL, but I think he left because he realized that they're not funny. And he actually is funny. It's by this guy named Tim Robinson. It's called I Think You Should Leave. It's super bingeable. It's on Netflix. So every episode's like 20 minutes. There's like 8 of them. And you got some celebrity cameos in there. Like Glenn from The Walking Dead shows up. Andy Samberg shows up. Like people, his other SNL coworkers who he made connections with show up. It is hysterical. Like that show is so funny. There's a really funny bit. The very first bit is from the first episode is him at a job interview at a restaurant. And then he's like saying goodbye to like hiring manager, and he's like, all right, we'll look forward to hearing from you. He's like, yeah, same here. And he like gets up to leave, and he goes up to the door, and he goes to like pull, and it like stops because it's a push. And then the guy goes like, oh, I think you push. He's like, no, I was here yesterday. It's a pull. And he just braces himself and like pulls the door with all of his might until the hinges break, and it like creaks slowly, and he like pops the wood out of the wall, and the whole time he's like staring at the guy because he's too like, he doesn't want to embarrass himself and be like, oh yeah, sorry, and push. Yeah. But then he like commits so hard, and then the guy's just staring at him with like this dead face. It's so funny. And there's another bit where it's like baby of the year, where they're doing like a show like voting on which baby is the best baby. And they bring out Dr. Skull with their medical facts, and he's like, this is the perfect baby. This baby has the completely flat back of the head. And then someone rushes the stage to like shoot one of the babies and gets tackled by security, and the host is like, all right, wrap it up, we're done. Like, it's just like that kind of like surrealist humor that I
got you. Okay. And what's the name of that show?
I Think You Should Leave is the name of it. I Think
You Should Leave. Mm-hmm. And it's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
I'm about to check that out. Mm-hmm. Are you watching anything, like any show that you are currently binging besides that one, or
yikes,
have been watching on like any other app, or
that's a great question.
Anything you should suggest?
Stranger Things, I watched that. I mean, I don't like rewatch it, but it's like I'm following it still. I don't really watch a lot. I consistently watch The Office like religiously.
I started The Office.
Yeah.
I got through a couple of like episodes in season 1, and I kind of just like stopped. But I heard it's like everybody keeps telling me it's hilarious.
So the thing is, the first couple episodes are really trying to be like the British show, which is super dry and cringy. But then later on, it's like the last half of season 1, and like especially starting in season 2, they find this balance of doing cringe humor, but also having this like underlying optimism and like hope that kind of keeps you loving the characters instead of like hating them outright. Like Michael Scott in like, I think the second episode is called Diversity Day, and he's just an outright racist, and he's just horrible. And it's like, he's just not likable. He goes up to an Indian girl and says like, give me googie googie, and then she slaps him in the face. And it's like, that's an unlikable man. Yeah. But then you fast forward just a couple episodes, there's a whole new Michael Scott, new look, new performance, and it's just like, all right, this guy, he's ignorant still, and he's stupid, but he's likable because you're just like, you feel for him, and you sympathize with him because he just doesn't know any better a lot of the time. And then like that's when the show really finds its own stride of like finding characters that you root for, but they're just like, they're stupid, and they get into like these awkward situations because of how incompetent they are. Yeah. Oh, and then another show, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, is one of those shows. I don't know if have you seen that show?
I haven't.
Andy Samberg from SNL fame. That show I think is like the spiritual successor to like The Office. I think in like the same way The Office had a resurgence like 10 years later, we'll see that happen with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I mean, it's popular. People watch it. But every episode is just so jam-packed with like jokes, and there's so many running gags throughout the whole thing. And then, like, especially the boss character, Captain Holt, is so hilarious. He's like this like straight laced guy, like no emotion. And he like walks up to Andy Samberg, and he's like asking him about like how the latest case is. And it's like a police show, so there's like drama, there's action, there's suspense, but it's a comedy throughout still. And he like the one bit is like the joke is that the captain character is so stone cold that you can never tell what he's feeling. And so he goes up to Andy Samberg's character, and he's like Peralta, I have some news for you. And then he goes, let me guess, Captain, a friend died. No, you want a prize? I'm not getting any better at this. Like he's just like, he can't read his face. Yeah. And it's just like one of those running gags that goes throughout the whole show. That's just one of those like wicked funny shows. But that's probably it. Okay. I don't really watch a lot of TV. I'm so busy these days. Like I'm rise and grind kind of stuff. Like my class schedule, my club work, my Wegmans work, it takes up like from rise to sleep.
You go to bed, yeah.
Right. Every day is just doing stuff. I don't get to sit down much.
Yeah, you are you're how old? 22? 23?
I'm 22.
22. Yeah, you're at that age where...
How old are you, Bryce?
I'm 28.
Ooh. Full up man over here.
Nah, I remember that age though, man. Just going to school, going to work, and then you got your social life, and then anything else that you got going on, man. Yeah.
People don't know how to like... I don't know how we got to this point where we take people and they're like prime stage of life from ages like 17 to 25, where people are like super like the capabilities of young